Giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Hakwadash, saying double honors to our apostles and elders, here great millstone, peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So in the scriptures is recorded on the day of John the Baptist, his birth, that there was a dispute over his name. Now why is this written? Well, as Romans 15:4 says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So things are written for our learning and for a reason. The reason why John the Baptist, the reason why the Lord had this play out is so that in the latter times, if you have anyone or any Israelite group that tries to tell you that names don't matter or names aren't important, you can refer back to, say, like the account of John the Baptist in his born and his birth. There was a dispute over his name. Now, if the argument that's being made today by certain Israelite groups is that the names of the Lord does not matter and that the name is irrelevant and you can call him whatever you want, like Yahweh, Yahweh. Well, the question you can then ask, you can revert back to Luke chapter 1 and you can ask about John and his name. So let's read the story. Luke 1:5, it says, there was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias, of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before Yahweh, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, blameless. And when they had no child, because Elizabeth was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years, and it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Yahweh in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of the Lord. And a whole multitude of people were praying without at the time of the incense. And there appeared unto him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said unto him, fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John. So the Lord gave a commandment that your son's name will be John. Which John means, we go to the Hebrew. It says here, the Lord is gracious, a gracious giver. Coming from the Hebrew, H3110, Yahwahanan, which means Yahweh has grace, or the grace of Yahweh. That's what the name means in Hebrew. If we go back, verse 14, it says, and thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of the Lord, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, but he shall be filled with the Holy Spirit, even from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Israel shall he return to the Lord their God. And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. So John the Baptist was Elijah, as Yahushua himself confirmed in Matthew 11, verse 11. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there have not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom is greater than he. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if ye will receive it, this is Elijah, which was for to come. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. Meaning, he that hath ears to understand, let him understand. Yahushua will then confirm it twice in Matthew 17, verse 10. And the disciples asked him, saying, why then say the scribes that Elijah must first come? And that's because they're quoting the book of Malachi chapter 4, where the Lord said he would send Elijah back again. Verse 11, and Yahweh shall answer and says to them, Elijah truly shall first come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elijah is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. So that proves that reincarnation is biblical. All right, this Elijah, that spirit, that man came back as John the Baptist. And we believe he came back again as Abba Biblos. So back in Luke 1, verse 18. And Zacharias said unto the angel, Whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is well stricken in years. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand, which in the Hebrew is Gabar Yahweh, which means warrior of Yahweh. He says, that stand in the presence of Yahweh, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. And behold, thou shalt be dumb, and not be able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. Okay, this angel is Gabriel. We know who he is, right? And the people waited for Zacharias and marveled that he tarried so long in the temple. And when he came out, he could not speak unto them. And they perceived that he had seen a vision in the temple. For he beckoned unto them, remaining speechless. So because he doubted, because he was of old age, the Lord said, well, until that day, you ain't going to be able to speak. So now let's get to the name. Because the same angel went to who? Mary, and said the same thing. You will call his name, as it says here, verse 31. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahawashai. All right. So if we jump down, verse 57. Now Elizabeth's full time came that she should be delivered, and she brought forth a son. And her neighbors and her cousins heard that the Lord Yahweh had showed great mercy upon her, and they rejoiced with her. And it came to pass that on the 8th day they came to circumcise the child, and they called him Zacharias, after the name of his father. And his mother answered and said, Not so, but he shall be called John. And they said unto her, There is none of thy kindred that is called by this name. And they would make signs to his father how he would have him called. And he asked for a writing table and wrote, saying, His name is John, and they all marvel. So the question you can then ask these same people who want to say the name doesn't matter, right? Say, hey, wasn't there a dispute over John's name? Yeah, there was. Well, who did the right thing? Because their family wanted to call John Zacharias. Because being traditional, they said, we'll call him after the name of thy father or somebody in your family. The mother said, no. His name is called Yawachanan. And they said, you don't have anybody by that name. Here, let's go ask the father. What does Zechariah say? His name is Yawachanan. Why? Now, the question you would ask is, did Zacharias and did Elizabeth do right? And the answer is yes. Now, why did they do right? Because they followed the commandment of the angel. They followed the commandment of Yahweh. So with that alone, you can then say, didn't that same angel go and give Mary and Joseph the name of their son? Right? So the Lord handpicked these two names for these two men. Right? So who are you? Who are we, or who is anybody who are we to come behind them and say it doesn't matter? Well, if it really didn't matter, why didn't they call John Zacharias? His name doesn't matter, right? No, because those names were handpicked. So if the names didn't matter, then why didn't Zacharias and his mother just name them whatever they wanted? It's just a name. It don't matter. You can call them whatever you want. So this is proof that both Zacharias and Elizabeth are more righteous than these Israelites that say that the name doesn't matter, that the Israelites who fight to call his name Jesus. Because they stuck with the commandment. They said, no, His name is what the Lord told him. That's what they told him the name is. That's the name. That same angel went to Mary and Joseph and said, your son, his name is going to be Yahushua. They followed the commandment. So names are important. The Lord also gave Hosea the name of his children because their name had meanings. Meaning what? You going to call your son this because I am not with the people, and you will call your son, your daughter this because I will come back and bring them back. You know, they didn't say, oh, Lord, it's just a name. It doesn't matter. I can call him whatever I want. No, then they would have been disobedient in their violation. They stuck with what the Lord gave them. So that's proof that names are important. And that's proof that what this was written for a reason. So that anybody who wants to come behind and say it doesn't matter, you can call him whatever you want, you can then refer back to how John got his name and the dispute over his name. And that this testament alone will prove that both Zacharias and Elizabeth were more righteous than these individuals today who were choosing to ignore the record and instead say it doesn't matter. So with that, shalom.